Hello, Sierra Region Manufacturing Conference attendees. I'm happy to see you back. As promised, I wanted to follow up on the conference in a 30-day program that's designed to magnify your results. Jon Stewart has a quote, and it came from 60 Minutes when he was being interviewed by Dan Rather. And Dan Rather asked him, so Jon, what was your big break? What was your big moment? And what Jon's reply was really fascinating. He basically said, it's the moment that I decided I wanted this life. So I want you to make a decision and a commitment to what it is that you want to improve in your path on the leadership journey. Why am I doing these videos? Because I want you to magnify your results. I want you to be even more successful than you already are. I want to see a rebirth of manufacturing in Nevada, and I know it is possible. So I have with me my teammate, Ari Kraus, or actually Ari Kraus Sizemore, she just got married. And she's going to ask me the kinds of questions that we think may be on your mind about the roadmap to success on the lean leadership journey. So Ari, why don't you take it from here?
Well, first of all, where do you start?
You know, a lot of people wonder, why don't you just start at the top of the roadmap to success? And the reason is because people don't easily change. They just don't. They really change from whenever they have pain. And there's a quote from Michael Beckwith, and Michael Beckwith basically says that pain pushes until vision pulls. And what does that mean? That means that people don't really make a decision to change something, especially if it's something big, unless they're experiencing a pain point. And after they've gotten the answer to that pain, then yes, vision will pull them. The answer will pull them in order to make the change. But in order to really make change lasting and in order to really have the motivation to change, one experiences pain first. And that's really the answer of why we just start at where the biggest pain point is rather than at the top of the map.
Okay, so you start with the biggest pain point. But why the biggest pain point? Because everything on the roadmap to success seems to derive from the company's DNA, why don't you start at the beginning of the roadmap with DNA?
You know, that is a really good question, and DNA is really important. As a matter of fact, we're going to have another segment on DNA. However, here again, the reason you start with the biggest pain point rather than with DNA is because it is pain that will drive people to make the big change. Does that convince you?
Okay, yeah, I think I'm convinced. So how do you find the biggest pain point?
So good question. And the way to find the biggest pain point is to ask everyone in the organization, and especially the leadership, but really everyone in the organization, questions that are directly related to the 4 Ps of the Toyota Way. So here again, the 4 Ps are long-term philosophy, process, a problem-solving culture, and respect for people. So the reason these...
So wait, I'm sorry to interrupt, but why can't I, as the CEO or the president or the business owner, come up with the biggest pain point myself?
A lot of CEOs or plant managers believe that they can identify the biggest pain point, and they can identify the biggest pain point for themselves. But really and truly, they're part of a complex series of systems, even if it's just a small plant. It is a series of systems that are made up of many different people and many different processes. And one perspective cannot capture the true objective, where is the biggest pain point in the system. As a matter of fact, Hay Group did a study on something like 1,200 different leaders in different organizations all around the world. And you know what they discovered? They discovered that the higher up in the organization a leader is, the bigger the blind spot. And the only way to narrow that blind spot is to survey everyone in the organization to find out where that biggest pain point is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay, so an assessment. What questions should you ask about each of the 4 Ps on the assessment?
So I am providing on the website, so please click on the hyperlink below to get to a document that gives you a sample of the kinds of questions that you should ask on an assessment around the 4 Ps. Now, the wording needs to be changed according to your organization. I can't give you exactly what you should ask in your organization, but the logic is there and the kinds of questions are there. And you should adapt the questions and or create your own in that logic and around the 4 Ps.
Okay, perfect. Does your experience tell you that an assessment will be valid? Will participants be honest and truthful if they know that the questions are coming from top leadership?
You know, that is a really good question. And in truth, people will not be generally honest, because if they know that the leader can find out who it is that said what, they're not going to be honest. It's really better to have a third party conduct the assessment. If you decide not to go with a third party, then make sure that you use a tool off the internet. A real easy tool is something like SurveyMonkey. And make sure you let everyone know in the organization that you have turned off the capability from the survey to figure out who said what and what came from which computer. But here again, it's probably best to have a third party conduct the assessment. It's also really important to let people know the why behind the survey. Does that make sense?
Well, you bring up a great question. So what is in it for the employees to complete a survey?
So what is in it for and I'm going to pretend that I'm the leader, and this is like what my message would be. Here again, it's my words. You need to adapt it to your vocabulary, your words, what would work in your organization. But I would say something like, we are conducting an assessment because we are embarking on a journey to improve your jobs and to be able to get out of the way whatever gets in your way of you doing your work in a manner that flows with ease. And we are going to give you the results of the assessment, and we're going to be telling you what our plans are to improve our leadership and our path on the leadership journey. So that's just how I would word it.
Well, thank you, Ileana. Those are all the questions that I have. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we finish up on this topic?
Yes, I just really want to challenge you to use the document that is in the hyperlink below and to come up with your own assessment. In the document, you will see that I have my contact information. Please, if you want help, I am glad as a free consultation to help you with your assessment and really dial it in so that it really works for your organization. I will be giving you one action item after each of the follow-ups. And why? Because I want you to be wildly successful, and I want you to get great results. I want you to be a key in Nevada's manufacturing rebirth. And thank you for making Nevada the kind of place that I want to live in.